OpenClaw is making headlines everywhere as the new AI tool that will disrupt everything and replace jobs, or so the claims go. But what really is OpenClaw? Well, OpenClaw is an AI assistant that can open apps, read emails, check into your flights, send messages, review your calendar, and a lot more. Previously, you may have heard about Claudebot or Moltbot. All three are actually the same thing though. The name changed because Claudebot sounded a bit too similar to Claude, the AI platform. And there were some legal threats, so they decided to change their name to Moltbot. Realized that wasn't really a great name and ultimately settled on OpenClaw. OpenClaw is not made by Claude or any of the big AI companies actually. OpenClaw is instead an open source project, hence the name, meaning that it's free to the public and anyone can download it and modify the code as they wish to improve it or do things like that. I'll give some examples in a minute of what OpenClaw can really do, but I think we need to take a step back to first really understand what OpenClaw actually is. Well, when most people think about AI, they think about the browser-based chat interfaces, such as chatgpt.com, gemini.google.com. These can be accessed from any browser and essentially allow you to input text, images, or other media. Basically, the point is, everything is just in your browser. These cannot open apps, they cannot manage your files, they cannot do anything else on your computer, and every time you start a new chat, you have to give it new context again, uploading new files and stuff like that. OpenClaw is different because instead of being browser-based, OpenClaw runs on your computer, but it doesn't actually have a brain. In other words, when you download it and start setup, you choose which large language model you want to use. You can connect to pretty much all of the major ones, but basically this uses Gemini or Claude or Grok or whatever you end up choosing to do the thinking and the reasoning for it. But it just uses the back-end model. It doesn't actually go to chatgpt.com. Because this is on your computer then, it can then access whatever you allow it to. So the big unlock here is that you now have the ability to do more than just send one request at a time and deal with the browser interface. You can have this reorganize your files, read your email and summarize everything in a PDF, take data from thousands of files in one folder, and neatly add relevant data to a spreadsheet. The options are endless, but basically this is like an embodiment of AI that you can customize. It takes all of the large language models, whichever ones you want to use, and essentially uses them to do the thinking and the reasoning and is able to actually do functional things on your machine. But there are some more details here. OpenClaw can probably best be illustrated by a little web diagram. In the middle, you have OpenClaw software running on a computer, maybe your computer, maybe some other computer. One bubble off of that is going to be the interface that you use. Instead of just hard coding in commands, usually people use Telegram or Slack or WhatsApp or some other messaging platform. And this makes it way easier for you to send commands from anywhere. You don't have to be logged onto your computer to talk to your AI assistant. You can ask for responses or give it new instructions on what project to work on next. And this connects with pretty much all the major chat platforms, as I said. Another bubble is going to be what OpenClaw uses as the brain. As I mentioned before, you can choose which model your AI assistant runs on. Some are cheaper and faster, others are better at reasoning, some are better at coding. It's going to really depend on what you want your assistant to do. And thirdly, you'll have a memory bubble, so it's actually saving what it does, so you can remember context and actually be a bit more like a human that you hired as opposed to a call center that you get a new character every time you contact it. So you can give it a personality or instructions like only respond in short sentences, or be personable, or share lots of data. Whatever you need, it's going to be persistent as long as you use this. And additional bubbles would be integrations. There are over 50 integrations now, and you can connect to Notion or Spotify or 8 Sleep or Gmail, and the list is growing rather quickly. So I'll share a bunch of powerful examples in a minute, but first I want to make you aware of two major risks with OpenClaw, and I'll share very easy ways to essentially completely avoid them. The first one is that if you're running this on your personal computer, this is definitely a huge security risk. You can think of this like an intern or a junior employee. Would you give a new intern your personal computer with access to everything? Of course you wouldn't. So while it's technically an option to use your personal computer, most people choose from one of the following two options because it saves you from potential errors or mistakes, either ones that you make or ones that the AI makes. Like, I don't want it to accidentally wipe my entire hard drive and I lose all of my favorite photos. I don't want it to just upload my bank statements to Twitter, like things like that, it's kind of best to have it separated. So first option is some people use a separate spare computer, maybe an old laptop, or what many people are doing is they're buying a Mac Mini. This is expensive though, and it needs to be running all the time. If you scale up and really start using this heavily, it can definitely be worth it though. But the best option that most people seem to be adopting, and I think it's very wise to do so, is a VPS, or virtual private server. Basically, it's like renting a computer in a warehouse. It's yours while you're paying for it on a monthly basis. They're way cheaper and easier to set up. AI credits come pre-installed, much safer than your personal computer, and they're very flexible. So if you decide in 6 months that you no longer want to use OpenClaw because, let's face it, AI changes fast, then you're not stuck with a Mac Mini. Instead, you can just cancel your plan. Also, if you choose Hostinger's VPS, you can set up OpenClaw in just one click, making it much easier for beginners. We like Hostinger. We've used them for a number of other things, mainly because they're fast, affordable, and reliable. So I'm working on a tutorial on exactly how to set up Hostinger VPS for OpenClaw, and I will link it down below, but we talked to Hostinger, so this video is not sponsored, by the way, but if you want to use it, we got you a discount code, so feel free to check out the link in the description, or just type in santrelmedia.com/OpenClaw and use code Santrel10. It's an affiliate link, so it saves you money and helps to support the channel. And if you're curious about OpenClaw, I still think it's the best way to set it up. Okay, that was risk number one though. Risk number two is the token prices. The AI brain is not free to use. They actually charge very small amounts of money for each request, but if you let your OpenClaw run wild and you forget to monitor it, it can easily spend hundreds or even thousands of dollars on AI tokens. This is an easy one to prevent though. Just make sure that you're setting limits. If you're really worried, another option would be an extra precautionary level, buying like a Visa gift card. That way, if you put in $100, you'll never lose more than $100. So let's get into some examples of how you can actually use OpenClaw. What can you actually do with this? As you can imagine, the options are endless, but just a couple of key ones that I was thinking about. One, you can make an invoice generator that reads through your emails, identifies deals, identifies contacts, and generates invoices, and then neatly organizes them in a folder for you to later review and send out whenever the time is right. This is something that, as a business owner myself, I hate generating invoices. I'm always slow to send them out, and yeah, this would be a really useful thing to do. Secondly, you can create an assistant that identifies upcoming meetings and generates prep briefings an hour before each meeting based on what it reads through folders, through emails, and maybe internet research as well. This could be really useful so you're always ready for the meeting instead of having to dig through and say, all right, what is this meeting actually about? And you're just not as sharp and useful during the meeting. The third one, you could do some more personal things. For example, maybe make a Spotify tracker that identifies when new songs are released, or have it join queues for you to buy pre-order concert tickets at the perfect time. You could also have it create a summary of your feed from Reddit or X every morning so you have a quick understanding of what's important to you based on who you follow and what subreddits you're in. Oh, and of course you can have more than one. Some people I know treat this like a team of employees, so they'll have one that might be using a deep thinking model to be a researcher with minimal creativity, maximum data focus. Another might be a creative one that uses models that are good for generating images. And you kind of have this whole team that can organize and work together and get more things done based on different strengths of different models. If you've ever used things like N8N, Zapier, if this, then that, if you've used any of those in the past, this is probably not a foreign concept to you to be able to connect a lot of different things and create some automations, but these aren't just basic automations. This is a lot more AI oriented and, like I said, a lot more similar to like hiring an intern or a low-level employee. Okay, so that's a summary of what OpenClaw is. I hope you found this video helpful, but is it actually the future, or is it just a little blip in the timeline of AI? You can be the judge of that.